Dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, Friday is a working day. Some of you come from a workplace. I could see people coming with bags and helmets and so on. So must be tired. Some of you may be fasting throughout the day. So even my homily for 10 minutes will look like 1 hour homily, isn't it? I understand. And I'm going just to share just one thought from the Gospel and one thought from the first reading. In the Gospel passage, beautiful passage, maybe one little idea what we can get is that the morality of an action is decided by the intention, not just the external aspects. That's what Jesus wants us to learn and to be aware of. You see, the Old Testament we find don't murder, kill others. But Jesus says, going even beyond that, the murder will begin with evil intention of anger or getting revenge, etc. So even if you call a brother and sister, you fool, idiot, you are liable to judgment and you will be thrown into hell. In a way, it's quite frightening, you see. If that is taken, God takes that literally, most of us will be in fire. Because at some time or the other, we have called, address others fool, isn't it? And very easily. For some people, it becomes very habit. You fool, that idiot, he's always like that. And when we realize, we are all fools in some way or the other, right? And sometimes we speak something foolishly, do something foolishly, think something foolishly, and others may not realize that we are fools, or others maybe tolerate even if we are fools, but that doesn't mean that we are not fools. So we are also fools. And going further, see, every action we are worried about the external aspects of it. If the external aspect of the action looks good, we think it's a good action. But Jesus says, what is the intention of that action? That is why the morality of an action is decided by the intention. For what it is done. Because externally, we can be deceiving others, we can deceive ourselves, we can deceive God, that's what we think. But God looks at the intention. For example, just the external aspect of an action may look moral or may look crime, but may not be really so. For example, if a person in anger or in fight, dispute, takes a sickle and cuts off a limb, a hand or leg, it's a criminal act. He or she should be punished. Whereas, if a doctor does that in the operation theatre to save a patient, he is also doing the same thing, removing the hand or removing the leg. We praise him, oh, thank God you saved the patient. So just removing the hand or leg, amputating, it is not moral or immoral, good or bad for what it is done. That's what Jesus invites us to reflect upon, my dear friends. So very often we human beings make sure that our actions, words, etc. look okay, acceptable externally for the others, but God, who created our heart, sees the depth of the hearts and what is happening there. We can cheat others, we can cheat ourselves, but we cannot cheat God. As the psalmist says, God who has created your heart, He knows what is happening in the heart. So therefore, my dear friends, it's a time to ask for purity of our thoughts, actions, and our attitudes, because God goes by the attitudes and the intentions, not just the external aspects. Second point, coming to the first reading, we hear God is not happy that any wicked person, any immoral person gets ruined. God wants everyone to be saved. God is not waiting for someone to go astray and to go and get lost. And also the reading explains the book of Ezekeil how we need to experience or face the consequences of our action. If we choose the commandment of God, we get the good consequences. If we go away from Him, we obviously come across the bad consequences, where our life becomes wretched. God invites us to choose life. God invites us to choose what is good and right and beautiful in the eyes of God. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, we find God tells, I have kept life and death in front of you. I have kept good and bad in front of you. You choose. Now someone may think, oh, God has given us the freedom to choose good or bad or right or wrong. So it's my right. Or I can use my freedom to choose what is bad. So what is wrong in that? Can you argue like that? Of course, when we choose the bad, we'll see the consequences. But before that, God, because He has given the freedom, does it mean that we can choose bad, evil, death? No. Why? Along with the freedom, He has given the reasoning power, rationality. And that is very important. If God has not given the rationality, reasoning power, only the freedom, then we can say, see, God gave the freedom, so I may choose this bad or evil, whatever I want to do. But God has given the reasoning power, rationality, which no other creatures have. Therefore, the freedom makes meaning only in the context of the reasoning power, rationality. God invites us to use our reasoning power to discern what is good, what is bad, what is good and right and wrong, and choose the right. If we are really thinking beings, we will choose what is good and what is right. So there is no excuse to say God has given me the freedom so I can live any way I want. No. God has given the reasoning power along with the freedom. And with that reasoning power, we make the right use of the freedom and we make a good choice. So freedom, rationality and choice, these three words go together. Freedom, rationality and choice. Because our life depends on the choice that we make. From morning we get up in the morning till we go to bed night, every action is based on the choice that we make. Sometimes during the night also, night in the dream, we cannot make any choice. I want to dream only that dream. No, we can't make. But when we are awake, when we are going about with our ordinary day-to-day lives, our life is decided by the choice. As simple as that, when we get up in the morning, whether I take tea or coffee, choice. Whether to wear this dress or that dress, choice. Whether to go to the office or not, choice. Some choices are simple. The consequences may not be very great. But some other choices, the consequence will be great and lasting for a longer time. Choosing life partner or choosing a lifestyle, choosing, like that. So everything depends on the choice that we make, dear friends. And that is why we can say in a way, to be is to choose. To be is to choose. Even if a person does not choose, that's also he or she chooses not to choose. So that's also a choice. Now you may choose to listen to me or otherwise. I may choose to give a long homily, whether you listen or not, that is another thing. So everything depends on the choice, my dear friends, whether small thing or big thing, choice is very, very important. But the choice alone cannot be taken in isolation. It should be seen in the context of reasoning power, and that is in the context of freedom. Suppose one may ask, to avoid all these problems, why at all God created us with freedom? He could have created easily without freedom, isn't it? Could have been very easy, You make in such a way that we always choose what is good. God creates us in such a way, we will always do what is right and legitimate, pleasing the eyes of God. Then we will not be human beings. We will be a machine, we will be a robot. Like the fan, whether I put on the switch or the boy or even a small child, even by mistake we put on the switch, the fan will run. The fan will not see our freedom or intention. Then, therefore, if God does not create us with freedom, we are not human beings, we will be robots, humanoid. Therefore, in a way, we can say that God does not have freedom to create human beings without freedom. You see, human beings means they should be free. There should be a possibility of choosing this or that, and they should use a reasoning power to choose what is right, what is pleasing. So that option should be there. Suppose I tell you, my dear friends, feel free to be here or go out, but I shut down all the doors. I lock the doors. There is no way of going out. I tell you, please feel free to be here or go out, but the doors are locked. Does that make sense? Therefore, in order to make human beings, God creates us with the freedom, and that freedom is another important aspect which distinguishes us from all the other creatures in the world. Therefore, my dear friends, very simple thought. God has given the choice to make, but along with the freedom, He has given the reasoning power. So, three words: freedom, rationality, and choice. FRC, right? It's not Franciscan religious congregation, right? FRC, freedom, rationality, and choice. And the Lenten season is a great, beautiful opportunity to introspect into ourselves how we use our freedom, how we use our reasoning power, and how we make a choice. And God also has given us the great innate desire to always follow what is always good, what is always right. That's why Immanuel Kant, the great philosopher, he says, two things keep me in great awe and wonder. One, the starry heavens up above, and two, the moral law within. The starry heavens up above, millions and billions of trillions of galaxies and stars, and that's a great amazing thing. How all these things go in a very particular following physical laws. And the second, equally baffling, equally great thing is the moral law within me. What's that moral law? To know that there is something right and wrong and to choose what is right. The distinction. See, every society has something right, something wrong, but what is right, what is wrong may differ. Time to time, place to place, people to people, and what is good, what is bad may differ. But that there is a distinction between right and wrong, it is moral law within that. Also, there is a deeper desire, innate idea, innate longing to follow what is good is another moral law. That is why we always justify our actions. Whatever we do, we find some goodness. We may be wrong in finding the goodness, but we do that action because we justify. Now I give long homily because I can justify Lenten Friday, little bit of more, penance, etc. Now you may be dozing off or sleeping. You may justify, I come very tired from the office, I have the right to sleep. So we always find some goodness, that's why we do. Even if a robber goes to the bank to rob the bank, he will justify, or she will justify. Women also can rob, right? So whether he or she, they will justify. Why? I don't have money. These people have excess of money. That's why they put in the bank. The society has a duty to take care of me. Therefore, I have the right to take the money from the bank. See the justification? He or she may be wrong. That is another thing. But we always do what we think to be right or just. That is why God has given the reasoning power to see whether it is really good or whether it is really bad. If I go on speaking, that will be really bad. Alright? So my dear friends, the point is very clear. Freedom, reasoning power and choice. And the first reading, Gospel, Jesus tells us to always think about our intentions, because that intention is that which decides upon the morality of our actions. Let us think about it today.